What a great episode of Rave TV. It's always so fun to watch Gary and Steph together, but I'm excited to be back and joined by George Preston of SpinetiX. Hey, George, it's great to see you.
Hi, Megan. Great to be here.
Thanks for being here. So, what are you going to tell us about today?
Well, those who've engaged with our webinars and presentations before will know that we often take people through some of the features of Aria that the operator, the end user, sees. But what I wanted to do today was show a kind of a different lens into Aria, which is some of the tools that integrators and service providers have to manage, to sell, to demo, and to manage those customer accounts. We're going to start by looking at the tools that we give to do demos, because I think it sounds like an obvious thing, but the feedback we have from the SIs and who are really carrying this product, really running with it, tell us that actually these are best in class among the competition. And then I'm also going to just mention how easy it is to add players, because I think that's another thing that often gets overlooked. So I'm actually going to switch here. I'm going to do a live demo into Aria Enterprise. Those who've used it before will recognize this interface, but what I'm going to show you is a different page, and this is a form. I'll show a link on the screen later on about how to use this, but this is a kind of secret form that we give out for people to request an Aria Enterprise demo account. It's not the same as the free Aria account that everyone gets with the SpinetiX player. That's for the discovery version. This is really an application for a full enterprise account. And you can see here, you specify the kind of type of user that you are and some details. And this requires an approval that will go to someone at SpinetiX. Normally, if it's during the working day, it'll get approved within a couple of hours. And after that's done, you'll get an email with a button to click to activate an account and enter a password. And then once you've done that, you log in and you get to the main menu, and this is your own Aria Enterprise demo account. You get up to 3 players you can add, and because it's 10 gigabytes of storage per player, that means 30 gigabytes, more than enough to do most client demos. And you get all the features you get in a commercial account. So, for example, you get the 12 templates that we give. Remember, these are just suggestions, these templates. You don't have to use them. But you get the healthcare example, you get the corporate example. Many SIs we know selling Aria just use these and move the items around and change some of the colors to show how it works. But you can, of course, create your own sets of templates. So imagine you've got a demo coming up with a customer. You can go and get their company colors, their company typeface, and then upload some of their assets in advance, because over in the files section in Aria, you can just drag and drop. Remember, Aria takes care of all the transcoding and the resizing. So this is a full demo tool. Everything works. As I said, the only limit's that 3-player limit, but you can show customers how the monitoring works, which is often a question that comes up early on in the sales process. You can add tags, so you can show how scalable it is. You can add alerts, and you can show customers how there's real live chat right in the software. Now, I talk about this chat feature a lot, but it's because I know that when people hear about it, they often jump to the idea that maybe it's one of those kind of bots that smartly tries to answer questions, but not real people. But no, it's real people. When you click on the message button, you send a message here, and then a chat support pop-up comes up here in the interface. And you can even chat to the team, and they'll help you during demos. Say, hi, I'm doing a demo, and they'll say hello. And end users absolutely love seeing that. It's not just a single user account either. In the enterprise demo account, you can add other users. So if you're a medium-sized organization, perhaps you've got multiple offices, or maybe there's just a couple of you, add everyone in the team just by clicking new and inviting these users. And then you can give different people permissions. So you might be using Aria Enterprise to run some signage in your own office. Many of our leading integrators have got what they call experience centers, and they use SpinetiX for those. So they can have permissions, so certain people can change that content, they can invite clients, and then they can add everyone in the team, everyone in sales, and so forth. These demo accounts are not just for SIs, they're also for end users. So we encourage you to send that form out to any end user who's perhaps interested, and they're the kind of profile of user who wants to roll up their sleeves and get involved. They get a demo account, and then they can actually join to your account so you can manage their content remotely and take them through a demo. And I'll come to that in the next section. But before I do, I just wanted to show you one last thing here. Adding players to an account, which is often the thing you want to do next after getting content and doing demos. We've really made this as easy as it could possibly be. And over in the players section here, you can see I've got 3 players in my account. If I wanted to add a 4th, this is the process, is as simple as this. I click on new, I paste in the serial number I want to use, I press next. The player that's connected right now and is here in my office is changed to show a PIN number. I put that PIN number in, 4-digit PIN, I press next, and the player is joined to my Aria account.
That's pretty simple. It seems almost like Bluetooth.
It is. It's the same process as Bluetooth, but unlike Bluetooth, it actually works every time. So I wanted to show that player adding part. Now, there will be occasions when you're adding many players, and even that is a process that takes too long. But don't worry, SpinetiX and SpinetiX distributors have batch operations that they can help you add players in advance. But think about it, if you're provisioning, when we talk about provisioning, setting up end user accounts so that they're ready to go, you can do this provisioning, get everything working in the end user's account before you even deliver the players to site. And then you might have an end user that says, well, actually, because of COVID, our IT people are going to plug in the players and connect them to Wi-Fi. Can you do everything remotely? The answer is yes, because the players just come online and join to the end user's account as soon as they get that internet connection.
So it sounds like the level of expertise needed on site is pretty low. Is that true?
Very. That's a really good observation, because we designed the onboarding and provisioning process of Aria during COVID, actually. And we had many customers coming to us who have our legacy solution saying, we're a bit stuck because we're running Elementi in a VDI environment and we can get to it, but we can't do it over the internet. Even perhaps I don't have VPNs. And so we were able to actually migrate devices that were online with SpinetiX and our older system, let's say, over to Aria without the end user having to do anything on site, so that people could change those screens back for when people started coming back into the office again. Okay, I want to look at another related section, which I think is particularly exciting for the systems integrator audience. And that is how to manage client accounts from your own account. So we just looked at how you can create an account in Aria. And then you can also encourage your customers to create accounts. And really, seeing is believing, especially once people have had a demo from you. The first question people say is, can we roll up our sleeves and get involved in this and start uploading some content? But then you've got a kind of end user account that's a bit orphaned. How do you join to that? Well, I'm going to go back to that section where you add user accounts and you click on new. After your end user has been through the process of getting a demo account, they can click on new, they can add you, and get them to add the email address of the account that you already have. So you might have a kind of support@avintegrators.com email address that you've used to set up the account. When they invite you using that address, Aria is smart enough to know that you already have an account. So instead of sending you an email saying, do you want to open a new account, it automatically invites you and it changes your account so that you have a new button. You can go and click on this button in the right-hand corner, bottom right-hand corner, and you click on accounts, and you'll have a drop-down box, and the drop-down box will be added to for every single account that you've been invited to. So I've got my GP Enterprise account, which is the one that I use for my demos, but I've been invited to SpinetiX Corporate Demo 2, 3, 4, and 5. Imagine they're my clients, and I'm an integrator. I can just switch to those accounts, and now I'm transformed into being in the end user's environment. I've got the end user's players, which in this case are some demo accounts back in our headquarters in Switzerland. I've got their content. All the features are exactly as the end user has. And that's extremely powerful, because when you've got the user set up, you want to be able to guide them through things. And it's not just in the beginning, months, years later, you want to keep delighting the customer by showing them that you know what's going on with their system and you can help them whenever. I would emphasize this is ultimately at the control of the end user, because they must give you permissions in order to be able to do this, and they can revoke those permissions at any time. But it's more powerful than just a one-to-one relationship or a many-to-one relationship with the dealer, because we have some end users who have other contributors who are not necessarily integrators, who perhaps make content for them. And those companies have many customers using Aria. They too can have a drop-down list of all of their accounts. Does that make sense so far?
Totally.
So we've looked at the chat support and looked at managing accounts remotely. I think this remote account management and being able to build a kind of library of customers that you always have a link with is really a superpower if you're an integrator. But there's one thing that we can even add to this. So we've looked at adding players and creating demo accounts. Something that end users often do is they say, we've had the demo account, thank you for doing the training. And they'll often say, one more thing is that they'll often say, well, we can't really get everyone together around a call. Can we do one demo this week and one another? And we all know what it's like when project rollouts take months or sometimes even years. You can keep their account consistent. So you can get back in with the new IT person or the new marketing person and see all the content that was there before. But at some point, there's going to be a point where the customer says, okay, we're ready to get involved and specify how many players we want and start our billing for Aria Enterprise. At that point, they've probably already created a lot of content that they're happy with. They've probably added tags for lots of their players. They've probably got a whole schedule set up for some screens that you're using to test in their building. And they don't want to lose that. Well, they don't have to. Because when you order Aria Enterprise, on the form, you will get an account ID down here, this code. You provide that on the form. Of course, it's optional. Not everyone will have one. But when you provide that on the form, as part of the ordering process, your demo account or your customer's demo account then gets transformed into a commercial account. So they notice no difference except the 3-player limit gets lifted. And they can carry on working with all of the content and the setup and the tags and the users that they've already done.
I bet that makes for such a happy customer to not have to recreate all of that.
Exactly. And often because the people that you began talking to in the, right at the start of the design of the project and getting demos, by the time people come to push the button, it's a new set of people. So to then have to re-explain to those people how it works is a real pain. And we just get rid of that. They carry on logging in with the same username and password, and the billing just starts on the day that they choose.
Can you talk a little bit more about the billing and recurring licenses and how that works?
I can, Megan. Yeah. So our enterprise is an annual subscription, and the annual subscription amount is per endpoint, per device. Simple as that. So there's a cost per player, and it's annual billing, and it's done in advance. So the customer can choose when they want to start, but then they don't then have to have their anniversary date, so to speak, as the start date. And that's something that flexibility really helps when you're talking to enterprise customers, because they'll say, well, we want to start now, but our financial year actually rolls over in a few months' time. So we can start now and then set the rollover date to be on the calendar, the 12-month period that they want. And if they add more players, we then just prorate those players so they match the same anniversary period as the ones that they have. And all that billing is done through the channel, through the SI, through invoicing. No one has to get out a company credit card.
You've really thought this through. There's so many little touches that make life easy for the integrators customers.
That's the idea. And I've got one more thing actually that I wanted to say, which I think, especially for those integrators watching who've been selling SpinetiX on and off or have touched SpinetiX a bit for 10 or 15 years, this isn't just for new SpinetiX players. Lots of SpinetiX players, lots of SpinetiX sales now are with our new 4K device. But actually, those who were watching when I did my demo, if I go and switch back to my own account again, will have noticed that in the players section, my players are not just brand new players. I switch back to GP Enterprise. I go to the players section. There's that new player I just added. It's in here, test, and that's an HMP 400. But this player here that's temporarily offline, that's our Diva device. It's actually discontinued. It's not available anymore. And the HMP 350 was launched around the same time, about 6 or 7 years ago. there are over 100,000 SpinetiX HMPs that have been sold in the wild. And the majority of those, which are Diva, HMP300 and HMP350, are compatible with Aria Enterprise. And something I can share that I think is very valuable for our commercial partners is the split between new customers and customers who are happy with SpinetiX but want to move to the cloud is actually about 50-50. And the real enterprising folks in our dealer network, especially those who maintain a relationship with their customers, they're going and showing their customers how they can migrate, and they don't need to do that migration in one big step. Many customers now are reactive to cloud. They're saying, yes, more of our products are moving to cloud, but actually we've been using SpinetiX Elementi. Everyone's trained on SpinetiX Elementi. We need to choose a day that we're going to do the switch to Aria, and we're going to plan for that. It's going to be disruptive, but we've taken care of that too. Because, and this is where I'm not going to do a demo because Elementi doesn't play very well with the screen sharing. In Elementi, last year, we added a new button, this button here, which instead of publishing over the LAN, connects to your Aria account. The first time you do it, it asks to put in your username and password, and you'll see this list of accounts is the same list of accounts I had in the drop-down in the web interface. So it's detected all my accounts, and then I can send my Elementi content into Aria, where it appears as an object that you can then schedule. So you can have customers continuing to use the products that they're happy with and then gradually migrate, and you as an integrator can also push Elementi content into your SpinetiX customers' Aria accounts remotely. That's it really. I wanted to show those features. I think many people are using some of these already. I don't know if everyone's using all of them, but I hope today this has been useful in showing how we've really designed SpinetiX Aria Enterprise as being a SaaS tool for integrators as well. And as I'm going to put up that slide which shows where to go to get to that form that I showed in the beginning.
And we'll have our team drop that link in the chat for everybody so you can have it easily. Thank you so much for joining us today, George. If people want more information about you and SpinetiX and want to connect with you, where can they find you guys?
Everything's up to date on our website, SpinetiX.com. Aria specifically is SpinetiX.com/Aria. The best way to get to our team is sales@SpinetiX.com.
And that's SpinetiX.com. So now let's go back to Gary, and he's ready to chat with Avixa's Dave Labuscus.